Hello YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to look at the TerrorByte truck. Is it worthwhile owning? Should you buy one? Um, I think it's worthwhile owning. I think just for the missions alone, you get 6 new missions, client missions. So if you're looking for some new content, it's pretty cool. The other thing that's useful from the thing, if you do crates or IE, I guess probably more useful for IE because a lot of people do IE on a regular basis. You can run it directly from the truck, which is kind of cool. You can source new vehicles and stuff like that. But let's take a look at it, right? So let's first take a look at the upgrades quickly. The one unfortunate thing that it doesn't have is any libraries, which I was a little surprised that it didn't have libraries at all, right? So just your typical stuff, yeah, nothing fancy in terms of upgrades. Um, just your regular stuff, nothing extra and weapons and things like that. That I noticed. It does have. It does have. If you look at it, this is not the. Like, let's take it out anyway. I'll show you. It does come with weapons, but they aren't very useful in terms of shooting other players. So you can shoot them at a distance. They're not too expensive. Some people say don't bother getting them. They're not very useful, things like that. But it's pretty hard once you look for 300k. I mean, it's whether if you're gonna play solo, you probably don't need them. You can not even bother. But if you're playing with friends, then you might as well get them, right? So, but if you go to the Warstock site and you renovate, you'll notice there's kind of two things that it comes with. The turret station, which I don't think I thought I could actually renovate. Turret station. So I think I bought all this. I was hoping to show you what it looks like, but I can show you. It's actually. So I'm just going to head to my second character here quick. So the other thing that it comes with, as you notice, comes with a drone, which is kind of cool. In a way, I don't like the drone missions. I think if you're playing with friends, the drone can actually be useful. You can blow up cars and people, things like that with the drone. It's super tiny. I wish they had implemented the drone to be like Watch Dogs 2. I don't know if people are familiar with the drone in Watch Dogs 2, but it was a lot easier to use and fly around and be useful, right? So this one gives you kind of like that first person view of the drone, so you don't know where it is when you fly, and you have this kind of first person view, and you fly into walls and it gets destroyed really quickly when you do some of the missions, right? So I found it a little bit annoying from that perspective, but I think from just a tech perspective, it's kind of cool. I mean, this first drone that we'll have in the game, right? So I guess people who do a lot of PvP and stuff might have find it more useful. Someone who's a solo player is probably not going to find it more useful. But if you want to do the client missions with the drone, I believe you need to own it. So you won't be able to select the drone missions if you don't have it. Someone in the comment section just comment if they know if that's not correct. Just let me know. Oh, and I think place, yeah. And another thing I want to show you is you can actually scan players and get some details on players. And I think the big thing that people kind of talking about is the amount of sex acts that people have done, right? Which is kind of humorous, I suppose, if anything. So I've read people declaring the server to be a Christian server, and then they'll attack anyone that has too many sex acts, and then other people who are doing the same thing or doing the opposite. If you don't have enough sex acts, then they attack you guys because you guys haven't actually performed any sex acts, right? So I just want to show you what that screen kind of looks like here. I'm just going to grab my second character in a sec here, and I'll show you that in a sec. and then we'll jump in the back and I'll show you a couple of things in the back here quick. Okay, so there's my second character. So you just kind of right D-pad on your button, and then you can actually let's see, I might have to back up. You can actually drive with this camera, which is kind of cool in a way. It's a little difficult though. Okay, so there you go. So you kind of scan a player, and you'll notice on the right side of the screen details about that player is going to pop up. So you'll see the name, the level, the current, the total earnings is just really I guess the recent earnings in the game that they've done. It doesn't tell you how much money they have in total. Probably too much information, the amount of kills, the accuracy, favorite vehicle, combat. But then the last two are probably the most controversial, I suppose. So it tells you how many private dancers they have had and how many sex acts they've purchased, right? So there's been people that have purchased like 80 sex acts. You'll need the TerrorByte in order to do any upgrades and mod and put missiles on your bike. Short of that, I think you can actually probably buy the bike without a nightclub, but it just has the standard mini machine guns, which aren't that useful. Now it does come with. I don't want to walk. I'll talk about the press in a separate video. We'll walk through that, but it does come with explosive cannons on the bike or missiles, and I think missiles are similar to the Deluxo. The explosive cannons aren't bad either. If that's what you prefer, I kind of a little bit of like I guess the Savage maybe. They just I found myself blowing myself up because I had to get pretty close to a vehicle to actually shoot them, right? So this is kind of your main area in the track. Most of the stuff you don't use at all. There's the weapon workshop which you have an option to purchase, just kind of like the MOC, and it's not very expensive. I think it was reasonable, around 400,000 or 500,000, maybe a bit less. Uh, the guns on the top were about 300,000. Again, not not terrible. Let me see if I can show you the guns here quickly. Right. Now the problem with the guns on the top of the TerrorByte is that they aim up. You can't actually aim people around the truck or on the ground, so that's why it's not super useful at all. In from that regard, but if you look at shooting somebody at a distance, and I've heard shooting down aircraft as well is a pain as well. So, but when you are purchasing it for 300 grand, I mean, it just kind of looks dope to have it, and you might as well have it anyway, right? So, but it's just probably not very useful in terms of the actual firepower. So there you go. It just kind of looks like SAM missiles that sort of come up and down and around and stuff. But you'll notice it can't really go down to the ground too much. That's kind of the lowest it can actually shoot, so you can't actually target people too close to the ground, but you can target them in the distance type thing. Okay, let me see if I can bring out the drone, and I'll show you how tiny this drone is. So the drone's probably going to be more useful doing it at night because you can kind of fly around people and they can't really see it too well. You can shock people, you can explode people in a way. So let's see if we can bring it up. Okay, so I'm already out and you can't, let's see if we can see it as above us. You can't really see it. It looks like a little bit of like a bird. Oh, there you go. See that kind of glinting thing there just above? Let me see if I can go down to the ground. Yeah. So yeah, I landed on the ground, but I destroyed it. So it's pretty easy to destroy, and then it has a cooldown timer of minutes in a session like this to actually do that, right? So let me show you while we're waiting for that cooldown timer. Let me show you the client missions and the other things that you can actually do with the truck. Okay, so your main console is this guy here. So you just it's a touch screen. So you'll notice a bunch of stuff. Now, if you're in an invite session, and I think we are, obviously. I thought I was in a public session. Yeah, we're in invite. So in the invite session, these are going to be locked. And I'll show you what that looks like in a public session. I'll join a public session quickly just to kind of show you that. But short of that, all the client jobs can actually be run um, in an invite session, which is really cool. So that seems to be the trend of Rockstar lately, to be able to allow us to run these sessions without griefers and idiots messing with our stuff, right? So all of these sessions um, are if you launch them, then they're kind of like free roam sessions in a way, or these setup missions, or these pre-set up missions for the new Doomsday Heist, that kind of thing. So you're kind of in the session and you go and recover something or do a robbery and stuff. So there are opportunities for people to mess with you if you're in a public session. So it's up to you if you want to do that or not. And you like the risk versus reward type thing, or you can just start these up in normal sessions. Now they all do have cooldown timers. Some of them are longer than other ones. Like we can probably do. I can show you kind of maybe a quick measure. This is probably my favorite. Is a robbery that seems to be relatively straightforward in terms of doing the data sweep. I didn't particularly like because you have to find and of course do all of these missions so you can see what they like, and you have to do 5 of these client missions in order to unlock the trade price on the oppressor, on the Press MK2. So make sure you do that. I don't think these two at the bottom, which is sort of a team organization type mission, where you both so the payout is about 30,000, but if you play with 3 people, then you only get 13,000 each. So not very lucrative in terms of missions, but the extra missions you can play and try and do, and it's worthwhile while doing. But these ones some of them are pay around 30 grand each, 35 grand each, depending on what you do and your role in the mission. If like my second character would just sit and do nothing, and she was able to take 30,000 each time, which was kind of nice, right? So it's pretty lucrative in terms of the missions, and they're pretty easy, straightforward. This one's probably the hardest, I think, just because the last vehicle takes off and you've got to chase them all over the place, which is just plain annoying. But in terms of the mission, it's relatively easy. You just chase them down and shoot them and stop the car and drive the car back, right? So not a big deal. Um, the diamond one I found annoying because that is a drone. I forgot the name there. That's a drone mission. So you need to use a drone, and you got to go into a diamond store, and the door's kind of half open, so the drone keeps crashing against the door, and you kind of have to get around the corner and stuff. Now, you can actually speed up the mission by just taking out one of the security guards in the main room, and then it forces you to go inside and shoot everybody. So, but you can go in there and you shock the keypad. It's not very intuitive. It tells you to go and basically go to the keypad, and if you go to the keypad, it looks like you have to enter a code, but obviously it doesn't tell you, shock it or destroy it or whatever, right? So, but you basically shock it, and then you can take out a security guard, and I can maybe I'll do that one instead of the other one, and we can do that one quickly. Invite. As you know, these bottom ones have now opened up since I have a second person in my organization. Okay, let's go do this one.
Okay, you're going to steal a diamond.
So you do need to, for these drone ones, you do need to take the truck to the destination because you need your drone.
I think we can help. Get over there and put some of our technology to use. I'll talk you through it.
Now the truck isn't slow, it's not fast, it's not, it's definitely not as slow as the Pounder, for instance, or the post-op vans. It's not super fast either, but it's reasonably okay. It seems to be able to get through traffic. It obviously moves better than the MOC because it's a lot smaller. The nice thing about it is if you do have the Oppressor 2, it's in the back of your truck, and then what I do is I just call it after the mission. And then you can just use the oppressor to deliver the diamonds, for instance, in this case. So in this mission alone, you can actually, both of you can fly drones into the jewelry store. Take turns at speeding up. So if you do have a friend, it makes it a little bit more fun.
Looks like you're coming up on the jewelers. Don't rush in just yet. We're doing this calmly and methodically. Use the drone. I've given you a signal boost to launch multiple drones from the TerrorByte. Every member of your crew can fly one.
Okay, so we're going to launch a drone at this point. So I'll show you how this mission is done because it isn't, like I said, it's not very intuitive. The biggest tip I can give you is just go very slowly. Now you can change the zoom. If you notice on the left hand side, from the left to the right. Sorry, on the left hand side it goes from 1 to 16. I didn't find it was beneficial to either. Just kind of go as slow as you can. Now we can shock people, so the idea here is to shock these guys outside, and then they won't attack you when you leave. You don't have to, but it just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so that shock goes down, and he actually disappears once he actually goes down. Now you notice it takes a little bit to actually recharge your shock, so we just have to wait for that. And we'll shock the second guy. So we got now. You don't want to shock these guys. Like if you're having difficulty with the drone and it's dying all the time, just shock one of these guys, and then they'll just make you come in and shoot these guys. But if you try and shock these guys, then you won't be able to do the rest of the mission. Okay, so we're just gonna go down in here. So you'll notice this door that causes a little bit of a problem. Just kind of try and go in slowly. There's the number pad, keypad that I want to get to. There's a person in here which we will shock. Not sure if we need to or not, but we'll shock them anyway, because why not? And then we want to shock this keypad if we don't destroy. Just kind of edgeward slowly, or forward analog stick. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, that's basically what you have to do. It's not very intuitive. You'll notice it just says disable alarm at the bottom. It doesn't tell you to shock the keypad or anything like that. So very easy to destroy the drone, but allows you to respawn another one just as big deal. Took me quite a few times to try and get this right. Now we're gonna go shock the guy at the back, and then these guys are gonna react, and we'll have to go in and kill these guys. You can see these guys are gonna just shoot me down. Pretty easy for them to shoot you, just kind of as they normally say, right? Well, before we go inside, let me just call my oppressor out here. To my TerrorByte. Request oppressor, right? Just so it's ready when I come out the bank, because the cops are going to be on their way, and if you're playing in a public session, then you
Got them? Alright, now get them over to our client. They know these diamonds will be hot, but there's hot and there's hot. Don't lead any police to the drop-off. And other crews can see where you are. Be careful out there.
So I can see the oppressor being pretty useful for missions like this if you are doing it, you know, just having it handy. It does have a bit of a boost, but it's really just useless, right? It's like 2 seconds, 1 second, not even. I don't even know why they bother. But the missiles are pretty good. I mean, they're kind of like the deluxe missiles, so it seems to work okay. And the nice thing is you don't have to. You have to kind of stand still if you want to recharge the boost, which is useless, but you don't have to recharge. Obviously flying, it flies by itself. You know, it's a step up over the Presser 1, I think, or the Mark 1. I never liked the Presser 1 just because it didn't work to actually fly the damn thing. But this is just like a bike version of the Deluxe, so well worth having, I think. If you can afford it, it's probably cost between $3 and $4 million to upgrade it and buy it. And not including everything else you have to buy, like the nightclub and the TerrorByte if you want to put missiles on it, right? So it can be like a close to a $10 million purchase if you actually want it with the upgrades, right? Now it is pretty versatile. You can kind of ram into buildings without falling off and stuff. Like if I go head on into this building, I'll probably just stay on the bike. It kind of bounces off. I like that. With the Presser 1 you came off so easily type thing. You can even fly. It does fly. It does go faster if you're closer to the ground, kind of like a car in terms of speed. I think it's 85 miles in the air, which isn't slow. It's faster than the Deluxo, but it's not as fast as a car on the ground. But if you get near the ground, then it does actually go pretty fast. So there you go. I hope you found it useful. I do think it's worthwhile buying the TerrorByte. It's just kind of like a fun truck if you got the cash. All this stuff's quite expensive, so it's really determined by what your priorities are and if you can afford it. And I think you need it if you press it 2, and I think the press it 2 is worthwhile having, so you might as well get it. The truck scan is kind of fun, I suppose, if you PvP and messing around and stuff with your buddies. Takes a little while to fly to the ground, you kind of have to angle it. So there's 33,000 I got from the mission, which isn't bad. Quick, easy mission. My second character got 30,000 for basically doing nothing, right? So if you have friends and stuff on quick money and don't need to do anything,
Great job. Your payment should be in your account
do
now.
a mission. You'll notice as soon as I jumped off that it just fell to the ground. So if you are in the air and you jump off, the bike will just fall down to the ground. If you're at a certain height, then you might want to do that because it might explode the bike, right? So there you go. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like, comment, and subscribe.